Welcome to the Energized Hairdresser, the wellness podcast for stylists who are ready to stop running on empty and start fueling their body, mind, and business with energy that actually lasts. I'm your host, Ashley Jo Gillen, certified health coach and lifelong hairdresser with over 20 plus years behind the chair. Here we blend salon life with practical nutrition, wellness, and mindset coaching designed for real demands of stylist life. Each episode gives you simple tools you can use between clients, honest conversations about the industry, and encouragement you need to take care of you so you can show up energized, confident, and balanced behind the chair. If you're tired of running on caffeine and chaos, you are in the right place. All right, let's get into today's episode. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Energized Hairdresser. Today, we are going to have a conversation that it could go one of two ways. I want to share my heart with you and some of my experiences. And we're going to talk about my experience on a GLP-1 and how my brain has evolved from my first experience to where my brain is now. Okay. So, and again, all of these opinions are my own. I am by no means a doctor. I am a certified health coach. And so as a coach, I will get into what a health coach can do to support your GLP-1 progress versus I'm not prescribing anything here, and exciting opportunities for just connections when you are with the Energized Hairdresser and whatnot. So, okay, so let's go into it. It was 2022. The same time I got diagnosed with my thyroid, I go into my general practitioner and I'm like, I just do not feel good. Will you please run a thyroid panel? Because I had a friend, she's like, I couldn't walk. And I had a friend, she's like, when was the last time you had your thyroid checked? And I was like, I think February, and it was fine. She's like, she kind of noticed I had a goiter. Like my thyroid was enlarged, which, hello. I mean, what? So then, but in that same conversation, I had just heard about Mounjaro on TikTok. And I was like, and I just had said to her, I was like, what is this Mounjaro? People are talking about it. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's great. The provider I was seeing at the time, she's like, my husband's doing it. It's great. They have FDA trials to make it approved for weight loss. She's like, let's get you signed up. And this was before the big explosion. Okay. And I somehow or another was able to get my 4-week supply of 2.5 through my pharmacy for $25. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be skinny. That was my whole thing. For the longest time, was in a trap of my size determined my worth, which then determined how I showed up, which then determined all of the other things on my mental health. Which, to sit here and look back on that, I just want to give her a hug. I just want to give my past a little hug. But anyway, unfortunately, the version of hyperthyroidism I had did not cause me to lose weight. A lot of people that struggle with hyperthyroidism, they drop weight real quick. And people it's kind of like, whoa, what's going on there? But my version my body was like, nah, we're not going to do that. And you also have to remember here, folks, I am 42 years old. I grew up in the era of SnackWells, low fat, Tybo. I have a scar over my head because, I did too much Tybo in my freshman year of high school and I passed out. I had to get stitches. Okay. So there's a lot that I have learned as a hairdresser who struggles with body image, disordered eating, and the why. So my first experience with Mounjaro was November 2022. And I had gotten, I think, a flu shot that day. And then I started this Mounjaro that night. Got my prescription filled, got a flu shot, gave myself that first injection. I was so sick that weekend and I was convinced that it was the flu shot. In bed, couldn't function, sick. And I had another friend that had heard about Mounjaro and we were kind of talking about it. And she had a friend who was doing it because, they were diabetic. And then anyway, I had a lot of shame around getting a hold of this product. There was kind of a shortage. But on the other hand, I was that first week, I was not well, did not feel good, nausea. Okay. And I kind of even thought whoa, maybe maybe I don't want to do this, and kind of, got through it. Well, anyway, so I was on Mounjaro for 7 months. I did absolutely nothing for my diet, zero exercise, and I lost 20 pounds. And I remember one time, and I think I lost 20 pounds in like real freaking quick, real quick. And I wasn't happy with that weight loss because I really didn't earn it per se, but like I had no lifestyle or habit change. And I want to start talking about this is because at that point in time, I had a bigger client load. I still had our location I had a separate building. I wasn't in my home salon yet. And I was never prepared to eat because I did not think about it. I would wake up, I would drink my coffee, and I was not hungry at all until the evening. And I just didn't, it was fine. Everything was fine. But like looking back, it's so not good. Now, I'm not saying that like, when you're knee deep in a foil and you're hungry, it is pretty, I don't want to say great, but I'm not saying great to like not get so shaky that you can't finish your foil, right? Your body's hungry, but you're like, it's okay. I'm going to eat something when this is done. So by the summertime of 23, are my numbers right here? Yes. Whatever promotional bit I had of this product was over, and then it was going to go to like $500 a month. And I was like, I'm good. I think I want to try this without it. Now, because I made zero changes in my lifestyle, I noticed all of that 20 pounds came back plus 10 more. And it wasn't like, here's what it is. So a GLP-1, and I'll get into what a GLP is. And a lot of this is like, what are peptides? So peptides are short chains of amino acids. They're smaller than proteins and they act as a biological messenger in the body. So many peptides bind to receptors and can influence processes like appetite regulation, insulin signaling, the slowing of your stomach. It slows emptying, and then different things, different stuff. Okay. So because it makes you feel fuller longer, I found that and because you were able to eat less and then feel full quick, what happened is I had to eat so much to experience that level of fullness. Does that make sense? That was the big thing that clicked in my brain, is because and when you're not necessarily tracking your macros, you don't really know what a balanced plate looks like. You are not you basically are eating a large amount, not knowing what your calorie intake is to have the same experience of feeling the hunger and fullness. Okay. So that's why it's so important, especially within specific coaching packages, is to determine those hunger cues and fullness cues. And I was solely dependent on this medication. I'm sharing my heart with everyone here. I hope that it is received with grace, because sometimes as a coach, you don't I was just chasing skinny. Okay. And unfortunately, I'm going to chase skinny again about a year later. So I was done. I had this experience with this Mounjaro, and then I think Zepbound came out, but then I was like, oh, let me try semaglutide, which semaglutide is your Ozempic or your Wegovy. And I did, and I was so afraid of feeling sick again. And then I did a very small amount, and I would only go up. I took a long time. And this time I met with a nutritionalist at a functional medicine clinic, but there was still a gap in my brain to go from what to eat to how to eat. So I probably never really did a ton on the semaglutide. I did feel like it was a different experience, hunger and fullness wise, than the tirzepatide. But I was just I just felt like that was the only thing that I was ever going to be able to have to help, quote, save me from food. Gosh, talking about this is kind of wild. So basically, I was paying money for this product. and I wasn't really changing how I was eating. And when I first experienced, like when I was doing this, I went through and I learned about thoughts, feelings, over desire, I had an over desire to be skinny, and I needed to be skinny as soon as I possibly could. And when I was exposed to this concept, I really had to take a step back to think, huh, why do I want to be skinny? Is it because I think that people will love me more if I'm skinny? Is it because I think that, like, what about this experience that my body's having in this life does my weight like matter? And, here I was doing this product, but yet still managing my emotions with fruit snacks, little tiny treat from a drive-thru, a little bit of shame eating in my van. And, I mean, I met with a nutritionalist. I was told what to do, but why wasn't I doing it? What was going on in my brain to make me not do any of this? So then I kind of learned I did a little that was when I first was exposed to thought work. And eventually I just stopped taking this product. I'm like, I'm not doing anything to change. And my last ditch effort to be obsessed with skinny was to try these like pre-made foods, where you do these like specific foods every 2 hours and basically like, and then you have like one lean green meal, name names. And that I had said, you know what? I don't want it like this. I do want to have a body that I feel proud of. I do want to have a body that when I look in the mirror and I see a photo, I say, I did that. I did want to experience what it was like to want to eat healthy. I didn't want to do a meal thing where it was like every 2 hours and you're doing like a shake. I mean, I had a whole drawer in my kitchen and my boys are like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, what is this diet? Are you doing a different diet? And I probably tried this diet for about 4 weeks, and I'm like, this is not like food can be very healthy. Food can be exactly what you need it to be. But we live in an environment where our entire brain's job is to keep you comfortable and safe. And there is not one day that goes by in our environment are we not challenged to not be comfortable and safe. We can be comfortable and safe by scrolling. We can comfortable and safe on our couch. We're comfortable and safe by like, binge watching a show, DoorDash some food. Are you having a bad moment? Are you experiencing feelings that you don't like? Grab you a crispy Diet Coke. I'm preaching to the choir here. Okay. As we're filming this right now, I am uncomfortable and with, goals that I'm setting for myself as a coach, and I'm moving to a new season and I am so scared. And my challenge, or the question that you should ask yourself is, okay, what's wrong with being scared? Okay, when you think about being scared, what action do you take? When you think about being uncomfortable because you deny yourself the fourth bit of ice cream that you've had this week, what's wrong with that? And now your brain's going to throw a temper tantrum like a toddler because you want that. They want that, whatever, insert secret shame, whatever that it is, whether it's overeating, over drinking, over consuming, over shopping, like whatever it is, when your brain says, I want that, and you don't give it to it, you're learning a new pathway in your brain. And then you can say, like, as you continue to do that, you can build evidence. You're like, wow, I can do things. It's okay to do hard things. So in April of 25, I was, I was like, I was desperate. I had made a commitment that year that I was going to lose 40 pounds. And I wanted to do the work that was required to make that happen. Okay. Every year that I can remember. And it was actually in the winter of 24. I was with my grandmother and my cousins, and we were talking about the new year. And I said, I want to do the thing that I say that I'm going to do. That was my New Year's resolution, which was like, I want to do the work that is required for me to lose this weight. Because let me tell you, if I don't lose another pound, but I continue to feed my body nourishing, healthy, nutrient dense foods, then I will be happy. Because there is nothing more satisfying than a meal that you've prepared or that has been prepared for you that is going to feed your soul, your cells so much better than like anything that is just kind of there. Because, our taste buds, I'm just having a light bulb moment. Our taste buds, like a lot of the food that we're fed these days is manipulating your taste buds and it's turning on dopamine receptors in your brain. And then you do that again, you do that again, you do that again. So, with that being said, when you feed yourself food that you can pronounce and it's deeply nourishing, like that's the best meal. Okay. So what I ended up doing was I invested in myself. I come to you as a course junkie. And if you're in the hair industry, I might not be alone here, but I was first exposed. My first course was 2017. It was Thriver Society. Then my second course I did was like, I enrolled in this B school with Marie Forleo and then that started my course addiction knowledge. And then I became a health coach. So then I decided to be the student, to be the coachee versus the coacher. You see, when I became a health coach, I had only had a limited experience. Well, I guess I was coached. In my first experience with a life coach was in 2012. Maybe it was 2010. I can't remember. I think it was 2010. I was working in a salon at Keystone in Indianapolis, and it was a horrible place. I had to pay $2,000 to leave that salon. And I worked with a life coach to kind of walk me through that because I'm like, what am I doing here? And that's when I learned like in order to be the person you want to be, you got to do the things that you want to do to get to where you want to go. But it took me about 10 years to like, understand that. So I decided to get my own coach. I know how valuable coaching itself can be. I know that when you work with a coach and you have someone literally holding your hand, that's literally where change can be facilitated. Coaching only works as much as you're going to be vulnerable. And assuming what you have like set up like with your coach there, but like when I work with somebody, it's like I know how deeply valuable it is. And it's like only in those messy moments this can like change really happen. I think. I mean, it's, when everything's going great, that's one thing. But when you're really struggling to put one foot in front of the other, by having someone I can communicate that with, it helps me just make the next few choices. So anyway, I decided to get my own coach. I spent a lot of money to make that happen because I was so desperate for change in my life. Plus, like they were wanting to take my thyroid out, then I had this second disease with my eyeballs. And it's just like, I had known if I were to go gluten and dairy free, it will help. But like, I needed someone to hold my hand to help me with this behavior change because like I'm already running a household. I'm educating my children. I'm running a business. Like I can't do it all. I didn't have the stamina to figure it out on my own. Plus, I overthink it. Plus, you read things online. Plus, all of these reasons. Okay, so I met with a coach and we started overhauling my life. And so what I did is every day I'd send her what I was eating every day. And then 2 months in, I was like, "Why hasn't my scale moved at all? Where is the stenny? Hello?" I have a thyroid gland that literally controls everything that's on the verge of burnout, who doesn't know if it's hyperactive or hypoactive. And so it's crossfiring. And plus you've just had chronic eating habits your whole entire life. That's not going to be fixed in 2 months. And not newsflash, just as a bit of information, it's not fixed in 12 months. I have a lifelong history of disordered eating because we work in a profession that prioritizes other people's needs over your own. And for the longest time, that's just how people did it. So then that's what people do. So now, whether you do take a lunch break or you don't take a lunch break, you're going to either be shamed for it or you're going to be applauded for it, or you're going to be like, well, I can't take a lunch break. Then you get tired. No, ma'am, the lunch break doesn't cause the tiredness. What causes the tiredness is because your nervous system has been activated for 8 hours the entire time. And that cortisol and dopamine has been flooding your system. And the moment you stop to take a breath, all of those hormones are coming down. And of course, you're going to be tired. The food did not make you tired. The hormones gassing your body. And then you stop to take a breath and you have zero stamina left. That's what's going to make you tired. And you might be able to do that in your 20s and not have a problem. You might be able to skate by in your 30s and not have a problem. The moment you hit late 30s, early 40s, you cannot work like that anymore, especially juggling a home, laundry, school pickup, homework, sporting events, and the financial responsibilities of everything else that we have to do in 2026. Hello, it's a lot. So with that being said, sorry, I went on a tangent there. If it takes me another year to lose another 20 pounds, okay, time is going to pass anyway. This is what we do. So it wasn't until I really overhauled my routine as far as diet. I began to exercise. Then I started tirzepatide again in July of 25. And I did a little bit more research on the microdosing side of a GLP-1. Okay. And if anyone wants that research, I'm happy to send you those informations. But what I had learned in that is that your body naturally makes this GLP-1. However, in our modern diet, we don't, this glucagon-like peptide is its natural name. In our standard American diet, we don't get enough fiber. We don't properly assimilate our food, which is slowing down to chew it so digestion can take and do its full thing, right? So a GLP-1 acts as a booster. However, when you hear someone talk about microdosing, it's taking this GLP and a lower amount, which research shows that can help with the appetite control. It can help with the, food noise and so on and so forth without the excessive side effects. So now again, that's between you and your healthcare person. So, and what I do as a coach is I help you connect the dots. Because you can go to somebody and say, I'm on this GLP-1, but I want to really change my habits. Great. Here's a list of things you should eat. Protein, chicken, beef, fish, salmon. Great. Lunch. So you get a sheet of what the heck should I eat? Eat your veggies. Here's all the veggies. Eat your fruits, all the fruits. Okay. What am I going to eat on a 10-hour day when I have 9 clients and I have 0 breathing room? How am I going to function if I don't eat all week long? I'm taking this drug that's helping me not feel hungry. But what am I going to do when I'm done taking this drug? One of my objectives as the Energized Hairdresser is to help you find comfort in who you are, regardless of how long it takes. We don't have to chase skinny anymore. If that's the result of your efforts, great. But learning how to be comfortable in your skin and confident in your choices, that's the real makeover. That's the real beauty of doing the things that you say you're going to do, having trust in yourself. That's what I want to help facilitate. And if we take a little peptide to help reduce inflammation so you're not wobbling to the door, I'm here for that. Okay. So this is just my experience, GLP-1. Now, and I share this because I've recently partnered with a company. It's not like an affiliate or anything. It's just it's a company where basically I introduce you to a nurse practitioner that can run labs, blood work to see what's going on, right? Because just because everything's normal and in range doesn't mean that everything's normal and in range. Maybe you need vitamin D. Maybe you need B12. Maybe you need who knows what, right? So now you have the facilitation of a nurse practitioner to help you along the way. And then I come in and we change the behavior, because I believe when someone is holding your hand, walking you through the hardest changes, because your brain is going to be screaming, this is too hard. I can't do this. I don't need to do this. You have someone to go, okay, let's take a step back. Let's do one step at a time. Okay. So if that's something you'd like to have more information about, head over to my website and we can talk about it. But I wanted to share this because I feel like we live in 2026. I don't believe that these GLP-1s are going to go anywhere. I think that I think the medical world has changed because of them. I believe that if you are doing them properly, I'm talking eating your protein, like between 130 and 150 grams a day, because your target protein is whatever your goal weight is. Eating protein, lifting weights, like movement, hydration, all of those things in conjunction with a little peptide is helpful. Like, we allow technology into every part of our lives, but like the food that we eat is just not how it used to be. And how can it be? Because it's just mass grown. Food can be medicine and we can only do the best we can. So anyway, so that's where I'm at with that. And I encourage this conversation. So I'm going to be in my schoolroom weekly. I think I'm still trying to figure out what the schoolroom is, but we're going to talk more about this because I think energy is like, this is more than just macros. This is more than just getting skinny. This is more than just a quote shortcut. If anything, utilizing these tools, then going through the work has been the most profound experience of my life. And like, I'm not saying this journey was like a straight line. This was like a very much jumbled line of where I'm at. And like where I'm at now is just setting me up a foundation to ideally go deeper. So that's what I'm here for. So I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, DM, come hang out in our schoolroom, and I'm here for you. I'm here to help you find that version of yourself that you're proud of, that you feel good with. So, as always, I'm rooting for you. Let's hang out. And if you're curious about coaching, go check out my website. I have kind of everything laid out there, and then shoot me a DM. We can always jump on a call to see how it can benefit you and what your goals are and how to help. So I'm here for you.